And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there. Listen to all our great shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do whatever it is that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every day. Right there for your Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, the great folks at LakersBall.com. John McKaylian already with the comments. There you go. Says the season is done. Put a fork in it. I will say again that if you can go ahead and support us at LakersBall.com, go ahead and join Joe Soro, aka Ox1947. You know he has always a lot of things to say at LakersBall.com. Plus, Laker Tom, you know he's trying to devise some way to save the Lakers in some wacky trade that hopefully will go through for the team. But he's trying to go ahead and formulate that at Lakerholics.com. Plus, our good friend Jamie Sweet with his 5 things. You know he's going to point out all the things that are going on with the Lakers, and not it, but is really that good. But go ahead and check out what he thinks at Lakerholics.com. Glad to have everyone here in the chat. Chat's already starting already. And if you can go ahead and support all that, plus Sin Blades. I will tell you right now, if you are in the Southern California area and you need your lawn transformed into something much more beautiful than it is today, go to Simblades with the Y, Simblades.com. Plus our good friends at the Hoop Heads Podcast Network. If you can support all that, it is sincerely appreciated. Agreed, John. Not even Laker Tom's blind optimism can save this team right now because heading into a back-to-back where the Lakers actually got into Utah before the Jazz. The Lakers with no LeBron, out with foot soreness. Also as well, Lonnie Walker IV out with an illness. Also, you know what's going on with Dennis Schroeder, Thomas Bryant, and Patrick Beverley is out still with his illness. The Lakers went in shorthanded into Utah on Monday night, and for the first half, they were very competitive. Defense was not at a premium here. It was a very high-scoring affair at the half, but the Lakers were still very much in it with actually a good flow on offense, a lot of transition, really helping out there as far as them staying in the game in the first half. But unfortunately, once again, the third quarter and second half woes for the team reared its ugly head again as the Utah Jazz got on a quick run to start the third quarter and never looked back as they ended up destroying the Los Angeles Lakers 139-116. And here today to talk about the game, some good performances though. Anthony Davis had 29. Russell Westbrook, again, even though he's a minus 23, he was still trying to get his own 22 points and 5 assists. Unfortunately, though, there were times where he just turned the ball and made some mistakes at the crucial wrong times when the team tried to start building momentum. Also, Kendrick Nunn finally showed up to play today. 18 points for him, 7 out of 11, 2 for 4 from 3. The team was 37% from behind the three-point area, 90% of the line, and 48% overall. On the surface, that's not too shabby, but when you get out-rebounded by 8, when you turn the ball over 2 more times than they do, and they're hitting 7 more three-pointers than you, that's not a recipe for a good win. That's a recipe for a loss. And here today to talk about the game is a good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing today at LakersBall.com. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, we knew it wasn't going to be pretty without LeBron, without Lonnie Walker, without Dennis Schroeder, without Thomas Bryant, without Patrick Beverley. All those guys out of the rotation meant a lot of hard times for the LA Lakers tonight.
It looked exactly the same with LeBron playing and Lonnie Walker playing, and we haven't seen Schroeder play yet, but I'm assuming that's probably going to be the same thing as well.
Yeah. By the way, John, he's still out with that hand injury. He had in his first game with the Lakers during the season, he actually suffered an injury, and he and Thomas Bryant both had thumb injury. I think they were thumb surgeries, if I'm not mistaken. think they were thumb surgeries, if I'm not. But yeah, they're out. They're both out for a month. Is what the expected time frame.
This is a diseased team from every aspect of basketball. It's gotten to the point where it's mental. I don't see it any other way. This team is scrambled mentally. Uh, they they're either going to just win 20 games this year and give the New Orleans Pelicans a possible top 5 pick.
Well, they're right now 2-8, just to let you know. And Utah is actually 8-3, leading the Western Conference.
Yeah, they're I don't know what Utah is doing, but they don't miss. And I know
Yeah.
it's not just the Lakers doing it. It's as far as my blood pressure going up, I can't understand how nobodies are running all over you. You're supposed to be Anthony Davis and LeBron James and these all world players. We're getting some backlash every now and then, and I know it's few and far between about our audience members being calling us out for being too negative. Please come onto the show and tell me what I need to be positive about.
Yeah, I mean, because you're just voicing the frustration of the general fans out there. I mean, when you look at our chat room, they're trying to tell you like it is. It is not good things coming as far as positivity, trying to look out hope. I mean, Russell Westbrook has been great coming off the bench, but when he's a minus 23 year old, off the bench, that tells you right there that even he and his upswing in productivity hasn't done much for the Lakers as far as winning basketball games.
It's empty statistics is what this current league is. If you're not winning, you can get your stats, but you're not going to win. Playing bad defense, not rebounding the ball.
Too many turnovers.
I don't even know what to call it. I don't know what to put your finger on to fix it, other than there's just a mental block on this team from every angle. There's absolutely zero leadership in any position. Any position. There's no one doing anything. There's Darvin Ham can't do jack squat. Anthony Davis, LeBron James aren't taking the lead here. It is a lifeless, soulless team, and you have no one up in management that's going to do anything either. You just have a 2-8 team. They're if there's anything that's connecting, is that you have lousy workers on every end that have produced a 2-8 record. For a team that has talent, we have talent. This is not a I don't know. I can't even say even Orlando anymore. Can you say
Well,
maybe the Charlotte Hornets to some
well,
degree?
we have the same record as the Orlando Magic, and that's
Yeah.
something that
Well, I feel bad because at least they have some kind of a future. They have the number one pick who's actually playing very well.
and Carroll
And
is lighting it up right now.
yes,
Absolutely.
but what the question should be is this: which leader out of this team is going to just say what's going to happen here?
Mhm.
Is Rob going to come out of whatever? Am I going to come out of some kind of a? Seriously, where am I? I don't know where I am right now. Am I in a bunker? Am I in one of those contraptions down in the Midwest where we prepare for tornadoes and hurricanes or whatever it is? Like, where am I? Do you even know where I am?
I will tell you, it's something that right now there's a lot that needs to be fixed, and I don't even think that even if you get Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, which is supposed to be, Laker Tom, and what you have said is this magical, especially Laker Tom, this magical elixir that's going to miraculously make the Lakers into a major contender in the Western Conference. I understand Miles Turner got 37 points tonight. I understand that. I understand that Hield's been playing good all season. They need more than just those two guys. They need a whole revamp of the roster at this point in time.
Then I don't even know why they came into this year with this roster. They might as well have just cut loose. But that's what happens when you're clueless. You don't know what you're doing. I guess I'm a little somber right now because I don't want to exert any more energy for this team. I want to come on here and answer questions and do some analysis on the game. When you're constantly losing in the way we're losing, we're always getting blown out
Well, let's talk about the first
over
half.
and over again. It's done, and
Well,
even I don't care about the first half. We're 76 points. That's a blowout. I don't care if you were within 5. It's a blowout. How do you allow the Utah Jazz with what half their team's supposed to be tanking to allow you've allowed in the first halves of 2 games in the last 4 days, I should say, you've allowed 151 points in the first half to the Utah Jazz, whom are supposed to be tanking. You're making Mike Conley look like Mike Conley from the year he was drafted. It's an embarrassment in so many ways, and it's so hard to even think of anything other than just bad in every angle in this. And I don't even know how to not feel like I'm about to hit my head onto the keyboard.
and the problem is, though, that the Lakers don't have in this time. If you're going to lose, you need to develop young resources to go ahead and see if they can play in the NBA. And outside of Max Christie right now, the Lakers don't have a plethora of youth that was drafted. I mean, you talk about Austin Reeves, second year player, but he's already, 24? He's already getting into his middle 20s, so he's not exactly a young player anymore. He's someone who hasn't developed in his second year the way a lot of people had hoped. Also, you have Matt Ryan, who, after that heroic shot last week, unfortunately has fell and crashed down to earth as being someone that unfortunately doesn't give you much on either end when he's not hitting those threes. And we saw today that he was just, kind of like a matador on defense today. Juan Toscano Anderson, who we were hoping to get that, championship rub, he came in with 1 point today and just provided you nothing on either end as well. He was supposed to be that defensive wing that could help us out, and he's not done. Damian Jones, this is his best game of his entire season, and that was only for 10 points and 6 rebounds. But even he had issues as far as being able to keep handling the ball correctly because he had a couple turnovers which didn't give him any favors. It just seems like at this point in time, this team does not build to go ahead and win basketball games. And this is something I was very concerned with during the course of the summer, saying how this team was constructed.
Your only option is to trade AD, and
That's what I've been saying for a
get
couple
an
of days now.
influx, get about 4 or 5 first round picks, try to make the contracts work to however the CBA will allow you to, and tell LeBron we can trade you at the end of the year to wherever you want to go.
Well, one thing I want to ask you, the continual third quarter lapses for this team, that is something that needs to be addressed. I think that starts at the locker room. I said it before the other day, and I'm going to say it again. You can always tell me it's the talent. You can always tell me it's the roster. But when the third quarter with your starters is getting blown out the door starting
It's
the third
not a
quarter.
talent issue. I know John is mentioning that we're not good. We have talent on this team. We have LeBron James, and we have Anthony Davis, and we have Russell Westbrook. These are still guys that are capable. And then you have a couple of young bucks in there that can do some things. This is a mental issue. They are mentally trashed for whatever reason. They're mentally trashed in so many ways from top to bottom in this organization. And it's a malignant tumor, cancer, whatever you want to call it, that does not go away. It is Groundhog's Day every day, every way you can think of. It's a blowout in every game virtually. Every third quarter is the same tape over and over again. At what point we're the fans, we don't have any ownership. We don't have any skin in this. It's like at what point do you get tired of being trash? I just don't get what the focus here is. You're going to wait it out till the schedule gets better? You're in the Western Conference. There's no such thing. Look at Utah. Utah was supposed to be the bottom feeder. They're the top feeder now. So now how is this going to work? When you start playing Memphis and you're going to start playing Denver again and then Phoenix. I mean, come on. It's exhausting watching this team play. I mean, to the point where I don't want to watch the games. And I watched a lot of Luke Walton coached games in the past, and I watched D'Angelo Russell worried about telling the world what Nick Young was doing in his private life. That I was watching those games, and at that point, I was at least kind of looking forward to something in terms of maybe some draft capital that can bring some talent in. But right now, there's no end to this. You keep this up. There's nothing to look forward to. You keep stinking up the place. You are going to give the New Orleans Pelicans a very likely top 5 pick. Almost guaranteed you're going to give them a top 5 pick. And the scary thing right now is possibly getting into those first 2 picks. It's just a disaster. And that might be what's really scaring me. I think that's probably what's taken over right now. Right now, they are a lose. They have a loser's mentality, and you have a leaderless crew. And for anyone who thinks we're being negative, you guys can go and kick dirt, because I'm tired of listening to this BS, because there's nothing positive to talk about. So I'm going to talk about what I'm watching.
When you have a team that's 2-8, you got to tell me where the positives are at. I mean, right now
we should be 1-9.
Well, we're 2-8. We are actually the 3rd worst record in the NBA. And it comes to the defense this past few days, it's not been very good. The offense, when the offense is getting better, the defense gets worse. When
you know what it reminds me of?
Better, and the offense gets worse. It's a losing mentality overall.
This is the tamer version of the 2004 finals. You remember the 2004 finals?
Yes.
Every game, other than game 2, which Kobe had to pull a rabbit out of his hat to win that game in OT, they just are mentally blocked from anything positive. It doesn't matter about the talent. You can blame, Karl Malone wasn't playing and Slava was at the 4 and this and that. You can say that with this here. Well, we don't have enough talent. That's bull crap. Okay, you have 3 guys that are still very capable and are just not good leaders. And then you have a couple of young guys that should be able to. We should at least be 5-5 at this point. I mean, come on. I was hoping for 5-5 at some point. That's scary, right? That's scary to be happy about 500. But I was expecting that. I was expecting a 5-5 record with some of the teams that we had played, like Portland and playing Utah at home. I'd like to, think that we had a chance there a little bit, but we're a mentally destroyed team, and I don't know what else to do other than blow it up. Just blow it up.
One thing I wanted to ask you, I think the noise should get a lot louder. I mean, not for Darvin Ham, because Darvin Ham, despite the fact that there are already calls for him to be fired, Paul Terry has been saying it since the beginning of the season. You're not going to fire a coach like him with a 4-year contract, if I'm not mistaken, right away, because you're eating that contract, and that's not going to happen for Jeannie Buss. But one person that you might want to look at that you did sign an extension that should be in the hot seat is Rob Pelinka, your man right there sitting next to you. So your thoughts on this, my friend? I think the calls should get louder and louder for Rob Pelinka for his inactivity and the roster that he's unfortunately very poorly built.
Do you blame the cause or the enablers, the leaders, the ones that put that problem in a position to make?
Ultimately,
Jeannie Buss,
it's his head on the line.
It's not.
Jeannie's not going to. Sorry, Cricket, but Jeannie's not going to fire herself.
Jeannie is the problem We've hinted at this for a while.
Yeah, it's from top
Uh,
down. When you're this bad, it's a top down
when you're a boss, when you're the
problem.
boss, you are the problem because you're allowing this to happen. Jim Irsay just fired Frank Reich and hired his friend Jeff Saturday.
From ESPN, who's
Uh,
never coached a game.
yeah, this is the kind of Jim Irsay is no. I thought it was kind of funny how he had been interviewed a few weeks back about Daniel Snyder and how he saw some merit in removing him as owner. Out of all the people, this is a guy that got caught with what was it, $30,000 of cash and I don't know if it was a crack pipe or whatever, but these are the guys that have inherited guys and gals, sorry, that have inherited and had their fathers lucky leftovers after they've passed, and you're watching the Hindenburg, so to speak, of management, because these are not people that should be running organizations like this. They're imbeciles, to put it lightly. And I don't know what I don't we don't have a solution because these people are not capable of making a solution, and there were hints of it all summer, and we had pointed out those hints, and we can continue to just say the same thing over and over again, but the same thing happens over and over again. And if we're going to analyze this as analysts, we're going to keep repeating the same thing because the same thing keeps happening.
Yep.
Well, why are you guys talking about the third quarter? Well, because every game, the third quarter, they go into a black hole.
Except for one game this season.
Except for one. So the exception, the one game was Denver, right?
Yeah.
It's exhausting for us, just so you know. It's exhausting talking about the same thing over and over again, but the same thing over and over again is happening, and no one is changing anything. I've had this experience a little bit being a Steeler fan with the Mike Tomlin regime. They're not changing anything there either, and it just doesn't. Everyone's doing the let's keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and hope that there's a different result. It's not. You have to be in this game. You got to be adapting at all times. Yeah, you'll lose. Yeah, you'll get blown out here, but it over and over and over and over again, every game, year in and year out. At what point do you get slapped in the face and wake up? Just wake up. Understand, are you in this business to win or to feel good about yourself at 2 a.m? I don't feel good. I've wasted too much time watching a soulless team try to show me how to play basketball. I don't care about 25, 15, and 3 anymore. Those days are gone, people. Stop looking at stats. This is more about winning than ever before, okay? There was a time when an AD or a LeBron would get 25, 15, and 8, and it was a blowout. Now, those are normal numbers. Now you can have those numbers and get blown out by 25. That's the reality of today's NBA.
Well, right now, I'm just going to say that Howard is like a lot of fans out there, trade AD and LeBron. They're not going to trade LeBron as much as common sense maybe would tell you might want to start thinking about that. But the problem is, of course, the scoring title. That's what they want him to do in a Lakers uniform. Plus, he probably has I'm going to say he doesn't have a no trade clause ironclad in writing, but I'm sure he and Jeannie have an agreement that he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go. But if he does want to be traded, he can go anytime he wants to Jeannie and say, I want to be traded. And I'm sure she'll make sure it's accommodated. But AD is the one that you saw tonight, 29 points. He still has some game. I mean, he still can get you some good numbers. I know he's been having issues with his back all season long, but you see the fact that he could still produce for you out there. The thing is, he should become even more and more a much more enticing trade chip than what you're seeing right now from Russell Westbrook.
I don't know if discussing trades right now it makes sense because we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I think the AD rumors might start to heat up eventually.
they would have to go 2-30 for that to really go through. I don't trust Rob or Jeannie to make a coherent decision on that or any ballsy decision. To me, they've shown nothing but cowardness and just complete imbeciles in terms of trying to run an organization. I just think about what Jim Buss is thinking right now, sitting back and just watching this. If I was ever to kind of run into him and say, "That's good. What do you think is how do you feel right now?" and just probably watch him smile the whole time. This is a team that belongs with an ownership that has an idea, that has a feel of the pulse of an organization, and that can just focus on what it means to build a basketball team. These guys don't know how to build a basketball team. They're stuck in the Oakland Raider, Las Vegas Raider, LA Raider mentality of let's draft a punter in the first round type thing, where they think that that's still going to work now. And we saw that before Al Davis passed, and of course his son hasn't really done anything. He
And
got
by the
Jim.
way, I do want to pay my respects to the family of Ray Guy on his recent passing.
Yes, yes, one of
The Hall of Famer.
the true greats in terms of the leg.
The only time that it was okay to draft a
Yes,
punter in the first round.
but that the it would get too personal if I really unleashed on what my definition of a true ownership of talent is. Uh, there's an image. There's an image that you want to portray. There's a leadership you want to portray and deliver. When you have people who depend on you, who are there to make your business better, they look at you and they will perform in a lot of ways according to how you want that image to be portrayed. At the same time, you also have to be able to adapt at all times. What makes someone like Bill Belichick great and why his assistants never do well when they leave the nest is because they can't adapt like Bill Belichick. His brain works differently. He adjusts in ways that not very many people can adjust to. You look at somebody like maybe Popovich too, even to a small degree. And in the NBA, it's a little difficult because you have to have top tier talent to really take advantage of that. But even then, he's still able to conduct an offense and have these young guys that are maybe not high in talent, but they can still execute in a lot of ways. There's just nothing here. There's no substance here. It's just names on paper. It's it's a lifeless team. It's a nothing team. we're not going to see anything change here because it's just what it is. They're not mentally set up to get into that locker room tonight and go, guys, we stink. We really need to focus and start getting better. They won't do that. They won't do it. And it's going to get worse. Just get ready, guys. So if you're looking to get some therapy while you're on here after every loss or hate on the show for being negative, you're going to get both.
Well, we're glad you're here, both in the chat room, the best Lakers chat room that's out there right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Once again, the Lakers do unfortunately fall with an atrocious second half, 139 to 116. The Lakers are now at 2-8, third worst record in the NBA. This is something that we're probably going to go ahead and cover as far as the surprises and the disappointments of the NBA season so far in our NBA observation show that I wanted to go ahead and do tomorrow. So we're going to go ahead and hopefully be able to talk about that coming up tomorrow. Hopefully Joe will be by, and along with maybe some other of our LFB staff, be able to go ahead and do around the round table, go ahead and talk about some NBA observations so far earlier this season. 10 games, 11 games in. But I wanted to ask you this, my friend. As the Lakers stand now 2-8, you were very adamant over the course of the weekend. You had 100% fall in line with Laker Tom's ideals and thinking, just get the picks now, just go ahead and do it now. So let's say they do. Let's say they just say, Rob calls on the phone. He just says, okay, you win Indiana. I saw Miles Turner get 37 tonight. I've seen Buddy Hield play outstanding ball for the entire season so far. I know that's why you're starting him. I know you want to put Ben Mathurin in his place. I know he's waiting in the wings. I know it's great that he's shooting. Hield is 13 3-pointers a game and scoring 20 points a game. And Miles Turner's 37 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 blocks. That's awesome. You sold me. I'm going to go ahead and make the trade. I'll give you the picks, and there you go. Right now, the Lakers are not even in 10th place, which I had predicted them. And I was the lowest of the entire staff on where I thought the Lakers would finish up the season. And I thought they'd finish 10th. Right now, they're in 14th. How far does a Hield Turner trade move the needle up for the Lakers if they do get them?
I don't know if it will matter. It's a diseased team. I don't think if they bring anybody in, it's going to matter. They might win a few more games, but the second something goes wrong, the lack of leadership from the top guys, as well as the people up in the booth, are just, it's not there. And if you trade away those picks or you don't trade away those picks, as long as Jeannie's an owner and as long as Rob is in charge, they'll find a way to screw that up too. They're clueless. They're a clueless, clownish run team. And I think we need to stop as a society, whether it's in something not as important like sports. This is more entertainment, so it's not that big of a deal. But we need to start really, I don't know about holding people accountable. I don't know if what that means really. I hear that a lot, holding people accountable. You hold people accountable by not giving them money for their product. But the game is fixed now. The TV contracts don't really put any teams in a position, especially the Lakers. They have their own channel. They've already got their money. So
they'll
they
be
don't
signing
really
a new TV deal here in the not too distant future.
Yeah, they're too big of a brand. There's too many people out there that'll still keep watching it. I mean, we're still watching it because we have a Lakers show. So they know they got us by the cojones, and we're gonna sit here and abuse ourselves watching a trash. As long as we're watching, the advertisers are going to be there, and that's it. So they have no incentive to really do anything. What? They're going to riot? They're going to riot outside. I mean, we already knew how terrible these people were. They got Kurt Rambis's wife making decisions on the LA Lakers and these type of things. Like who does this stuff? What are you doing? Why would she know anything? Why? Because she's been your best friend for the last 40 years. She knows how to run a basketball team now or make decisions. You get rid of Ryan West. I don't know what the bus kids are doing these days, but they were doing pretty well scouting and helping them get young players. Are they even working anymore?
Well, I told you where one was.
Okay.
Here in Las Vegas area.
All right. So, his focus is gone, obviously. And
well, he was watching Victor Wembanyama, a player he can't have because the Lakers, no matter how bad it gets, can't draft Victor Wembanyama.
It's just not done well. I'm really trying to tame myself here from really unleashing, because I think it gets boring after a while. I don't want to sound like Screaming A. Smith screaming on every show. I don't want to do that. I want to save it for the right times. But right now, it's not worth even screaming about it.
You were asked to exhale.
Well, yeah, and I don't know. There's only one solution. You gut the team. I'm talking from the top. This lady is not capable of running this team. I don't know how the hell we won in 2020 now. I'm really trying to figure out how, and one of the reasons, and the reason why I say that is I remember that season. I could not figure out how nothing went on in the locker room. I mean, it was one of the most tame teams I've ever seen. Usually the Lakers always had some kind of something going on in the locker room. It was the quietest team I've ever seen. As far as other,
no noise, camaraderie wise,
yeah,
they
it was.
were all together.
Yes, I mean, there was never a peep. I never heard anything that year, and it made so much sense that they played so well. And I think that's the part where I'm trying to get my mind right with, like, what happened to that? You can't tell me that getting rid of KCP and Kyle Kuzma and Caruso did that. That doesn't make any sense. What did it? What really scarred this team? Something happened? Did one of the players do something to somebody and all of a sudden it just killed everything? I don't understand. I'm trying to get the whole story here. How do you go from that to disintegration at epic proportions here? Because you're sitting there, we were all blaming Westbrook, but they're playing worse with Westbrook playing better. It's weird. It's like a paradox. I don't know. I can't figure it out.
One thing I do want to ask you, though, is that, okay, 10 games in, I know that Jordan Brown said it. And by the way, thank you for joining us, by the way. Appreciate it. Anybody who's in the chat room or anybody's out there watching, if you get a chance, please go ahead and subscribe to us today for the latest notifications on when we go live on the air by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Or if you're checking us out on audio, we truly appreciate it wherever you get your audio podcast. I do want to mention that, okay, we're 2-8, off to a terrible start. In fact, so many of our audience, so many, Blue Magic, Paul Terry, Petting My Cat, our regulars, they all predicted that it would be a rough start for the Lakers because even you did, Joe, as far as the type of rough start against as far as the teams that we were facing off with. The only problem is the games that we thought would be easy, like the Utah games, obviously they did not go the way that they were supposed to, or at least the way they thought, because of the fact that Utah is not the team that anyone thought they would be. But you've got the next 10 games ahead. Picture me how we can go at least 5-5 in those games. Because the road to the next 10 games does not seem to be as tough as the first 10 that we've gone through. So tell me if you think that we can at least break even and at least use that as a stepping stone to be a little bit more positive going forward.
There's a chance they could go 5-5 to finish the last 10 games. But
which would be a step in the right direction.
I don't know if that's true, though. I don't know if that's really what will happen. I don't really trust them to go 5-5. I trust them to go 2-8.
Okay, well, let's break this down. Let me break this down. The next game is Wednesday against the Clippers.
I predicted, I think, 5-15.
I think you did. Well, let's say this. Okay, the next game is against the Clippers. Then after that, you've got Sacramento, you've got Brooklyn, you've got Detroit, you've got San Antonio. All those 4 of those 5 are winnable games. You know how badly we play against the Clippers. So 4 of those 5 right there, we can actually win. I know they're on the road, but those 4 of those 5, those are actually winnable games. Then you've got right after that at Phoenix. Then, those 4, Sacramento, Brooklyn, Detroit, and San Antonio, those are home games. My apologies. Then you go on the road against Phoenix. Then you do a back-to-back at San Antonio. Then you got Indiana, and then you've got Portland. I think that's a lot easier than the first 10 that we faced. This is something where we can get out of it 5-5, maybe even 6-4.
No, they will go 3-7. They will be 5-15 after 20 games. That was the numbers. Those were the numbers I saw during the summer when I saw the schedule. Everything we've said during the summer has come true. Everything. So for those who have watched us this summer and continue to watch us, we know what we're talking about.
Okay. Negative, well, again, they're at the Clippers. Then they're home against Sacramento, Brooklyn, Detroit, and San Antonio.
They're not winning more games. It's over, guys. Huh? This is a mentally dysfunctional team. It's diseased. There would have to be something weird, just like that year in 2020 where there was no noise coming out of the locker room to happen for this to change. And I'm sick and tired of waiting for this to happen. Let it happen. I want to be wrong, but as I get older and as I analyze things, the more I hone in on that, the better I am at knowing the result of everything, because that's part of how it works. You're supposed to not. You're supposed to see things before they happen. When you start to get life experience and you're someone who pays attention to the details, these guys are not equipped mentally to win game in, game out. They're just not. LeBron been doing it 20 years. He exceeded expectations, even though the expectations were unfair. It's over for him. It's done. He's going to get the scoring title. He'll end up, the last thing he needs after that, he's going to try to go play with his son, and that's it. He's going to go retire and go try to buy NBA teams.
Well,
AD,
sons. I bet he plays with both his sons.
I don't know. I don't know what that'll be in the end, but I don't really care. But the Lakers, if there's some brain activity there at some point, start thinking about building a future, because you guys in about 2 years are going to be demanding a hard cap, and you're going to make it even worse for yourselves if you have to work with a hard cap, because now you're really going to have to make sure you take care of those people you draft or those people you develop, or you are going to be trash, just like the Las Vegas Raiders for the last 20 plus years nonstop. That's their future right now. That's what I see.
Well, 69 Mega, please subscribe to us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, because if you don't, I got to block you. So if you're not subscribing, you're not staying. So sorry. The bots come after us once again. It's the Lakers Fast Break. It's Joe Soro, aka Ox1947. You got to go ahead and check them out today at LakersBall.com. Plus me, Gerald Glassford. Thank you so much again for watching and listening. I wanted to go ahead and touch on one thing that you said in regards to the record 5-15. Now, I mentioned the next 10 games is the rest of this month. So the rest of this month is 10 games. I'm going to say the Lakers will go 5-5 in the next 10 games and provide at least the fans some hope in the right direction. You're saying that by the time that the end of November is done and December rolls around, you think they're just going to be at 5-15?
Yeah, that was the talent. That was the team construction of during the summer. It was it's a 5-15 team. They have shown in these last 3 games that they're not capable of winning consistently. They can't play defense. They don't get rebounds very well. They've done a few things here and there on offense that have been good, but they're just not a good team. They're not mentally in it. You look at Utah, they don't miss. They're confident. They have a good system. They have energy. They're excited. We're dead. Even when we're scoring, we're dead.
Great optimism out there in the chat. I see a 9-1 in the next 10 games. I even see Wet Bobcat. Thank you for watching and appreciate you being in the chat, Wet Bobcat. 10-10-0. You're talking about undefeated. That's the kind of optimism I know that a lot of people are looking forward to. I don't think that's going to happen, though. But still, the Lakers do have a much more winnable next 10 games than they did the previous 10 games. I'm thinking, again, I think it's something that they can go ahead and, if AD and LeBron are on the floor, that they can actually go ahead and compete and get out of it with a 500 record for the next 10 games. I'm not giving them. I know Joe is saying
I'm gonna reverse this. You're asking me questions, right? And I'm gonna have our crew that's watching ask us a question about what have the Lakers shown you to convince me that they're gonna go 5-5 or 6-4 or 7-3. What have they done that convinces you that they're gonna do that?
I'm not convinced on it. I'm just trying to be optimistic. If Laker Tom is not here, I've got to be at least some type of bring some type of optimism.
Laker Tom, just like John Ireland, have finally succumbed to the reality of what's going on.
Is it that bad on LA radio?
Even John Ireland today was not positive. And when John Ireland is not positive, you need to put your money on that.
Well, let me put you this way. Okay, they've got 4 home games coming up after the Clippers game. We all know how bad they play against the Clippers. I'm not going to say that they're going to win that game, but Clippers have been playing lousy. They're 5-5, and Kawhi is nowhere to be seen. Then you've got the next 4 games at home. Sacramento, they had a big lead tonight and blew it because of one, Steph Curry on a very poorly playing Golden State Warriors team who beat them in the final minute. Then you've got Brooklyn, and we all know about that train wreck. Detroit has been awful this year, and San Antonio's starting to fade. Those are 4 winnable games right there. Plus, you go to San Antonio for 2 games back to back in San Antonio. At least talk about a split, and then you end the rest of the month against Indiana, a team that is 5-5 right now, but really does not want to win. They want to trade their players. And then you've got Portland, who has been a big surprise. That's probably lost there, but I think I see 5 wins out of this next 10 games. I'm not counting the Phoenix games because I know we're going to get blown out there.
No, I don't see the Lakers when you're talking about how you're looking at these teams like they're below the Lakers. The Lakers are worse than these teams. So those teams are saying, "Oh, we're playing the Lakers. That's a win." And you're playing San Antonio 3 times in a week. They're going to win one of those games. I'm going to predict they're going to win. They're going to beat the Clippers because the Clippers are about to implode, by the way. Look for it in the next couple months. They're about to implode. Watch it.
If it makes me look bad, that's
Brooklyn,
okay because I don't want to. I picked the Clippers to win, and I did it as reverse psychology, and I hope it comes true. I just thought they were a talented team, and I'm glad that they're not going to win.
Brooklyn, I think they'll have Kyrie back by then, right?
Yeah, well, we probably think that they're
and watch them smoke the Lakers on a Sunday. Just watch that.
With our luck, that'll be his first game.
I'm going to predict this. We're going to win one of the San Antonio games. We're going to win the Clippers game, and then we're going to win the last game of the month against Portland. That's my prediction. Everything else will be a loss because that's what they are. They're losers. Then they don't have any sack. Nothing. They have 0 heart, 0 sack, and you're run by brainless leaders.
Well, I can't say I disagree with you there.
You can take that to the bank and you can send that letter certified to them. I'm a nobody. So they're not going to give a crap. But as we become somebody, the noise will start. Just like, there was a time when, I don't know if you remember the Siskel and Ebert guys. I
love that show.
Okay.
That was so awesome on syndication. Every week, I didn't even care if it's the movies I didn't want to see or not. I just loved their responses.
Absolutely. So there was a time, absolutely. There's a time where they looked at these goofballs, and at that time, TV was different. You saw the quintessential leading man look or the really pretty girl. These guys looked like weirdos in some room with weird clothes, yapping about movies.
You can say geeks. It's okay.
No, whatever. It is what it is. And then as time went on, they're like, who the hell are these clowns? What are they going to do for us? To people deathly afraid of their thumbs up, thumbs down thing. So I'm going to give you guys all a heads up. And, of course, this is going to come down to our people, our esteemed fans, ones who've criticized us and ones who support us. Those who criticize us, guys, if I sound like I'm being defensive, I'm not. I'm just trying to. I enjoy the negative. I don't like listening to myself, so I understand if you don't like listening to certain people as well. I totally get it, and I know you want to be positive. I think we all want to be positive in life, but just so you guys know the difference. I'm a very positive guy in my life, right? Because I have control over my life and I'm healthy, and that part of my life is great. But I'm trying to let you guys know that the Lakers are not giving us anything to be positive about, and I'm trying to tell you the truth, trying to give you guys legitimate a legitimate understanding of what is going on here. And as far as the solutions to things, a lot of times there isn't a solution, and a lot of times it doesn't matter what the solution is because who's in charge? Are they going to change? Are they going to adapt? Are they going to do something? Right now, it doesn't look like they are. So the venom needs to get worse. It needs to get more dangerous, maybe. To some, that's entertaining. To some, it's not. We try to cater to a balance there. But in the end here, based off what I've seen, is why I'm telling you they're going to go 3-7. It's not because I want them to go 3-7. I want them to go 10-0. But they have shown me they are a 3-7 team for the next 10 games based off what I've seen. And there hasn't been any. They actually weren't playing bad the first 4 or 5 games. It's the last 3 games when after a 2-game winning streak where they started sucking again. Why? Why would you get worse when you've already been playing well? It's not like LeBron is out for the year or AD's out. The AD got more healthy. His back stopped doing what it was doing, and you guys got worse. And you're getting worse with Russell Westbrook playing well. I told you, it's a paradigm. It doesn't make sense. How is it that guy that was scapegoated for a year and change all of a sudden change into a productive player, and you got worse?
That's the hard part. That's the thing I can't figure out. Their bench is actually worse, even though he's playing better off the bench. It's just amazingly confounding the way that Jordan talks about 3 of the top 20 players in the league currently. I don't know if I go that far. Each of the 3 players that you're talking about, AD, LeBron, and Westbrook, have had their holes in their game as far as where they're playing now and where they're at. I mean, they're top 50 players right now that they're playing like, but still, maybe even Westbrook right now is playing like a top 50 player, but maybe top 100 player. Let's go top 100 player. But Westbrook right now, I think you're getting the best Westbrook that you have since he joined the team, and you're still not getting it done. That's what's so sad. That's what's so disappointing. And the problem is with a $47 million contract, people are not biting on it unless you give up those 2 first-round picks.
Your future, it doesn't matter if they write it out or they trade. I've gotten to the point where it won't matter. You could give up the 27 and 29 pick and go get Hield and Turner. These guys can't steer the ship anymore. They found the Holy Grail in 2020, and that was it. It was one of those anomalies that happened that in a lot of ways ended up becoming a detriment because they got really high on who they were. They're not good at doing this. They're not. They're terrible because they broke it down. At that time, we had the Ryan West, we had the Bus Boys doing their scouting. We had people doing things. We had the Carusos and the KCPs and the Kuzmas, the young talent, the guys that we've developed. And then since that championship, we've slowly eroded all the little building blocks that enhance basically the mortar that puts the bricks and the pavers together. So we have the pavers and the bricks, which is the LeBrons and the ADs and the Westbrooks, but that you still need that mortar or that concrete to merge it together the right way, right? For it to be stable. They've destroyed the team. They destroyed that foundation. They disrespected their foundation in every angle. And what happens when you screw people over time? Your circle gets smaller and smaller, and all of a sudden you start relying on Linda Rambis because she's the only one that won't tell you you're an idiot. The yes people. So I like to teach people in my circles a little bit about life. And some people roll their eyes. You can see it without them rolling it. They don't want to really be told what's up. And that's why they're always working for people. They don't have their own lives, right? Most of the time. But I'm going to teach you guys something here. You guys out there that want to know how to run something or be happy in terms of what you're running. One of the main things you got to start out with is you got to make sure your foundation is always stable. And you always take care of the people that have helped you become what you become. You're going to disagree. You're going to not agree with a lot of things, but you have to look at that. You have to look at the foundation as the most important thing in here is why you can't disrespect. You can't I can't even find the right word to make this make sense, but you can't destroy what's worked. You can't destroy the house. They're destroying the house, and it's starting to seep up into the neighborhood now, and then soon it's going to be the city and the state and all that. And I don't know if there's a solution. They're too emotionally weak from what I've seen.
I will say this though, that when it comes to what we're seeing out there, again, the Lakers did unfortunately get blown out in the second half, and they end up losing 139 to 116. It's Joe Soro, aka Ox 1947, and me, Gerald Glassford from the Lakers Fast Break. Thank you so much again for watching and listening. I do want to mention again, I know Richard just came on a little bit late, but I did want to mention that I did speak to you earlier about those, having to trade AD. Well, the rumors, whether or not they're being perpetuated, but Bill Simmons on his podcast this weekend actually echoed something I've been saying for a few days now about trading AD. So let's say you're Rob Pelinka and you get that offer now, or starting to field offers for AD. Are you more interested in trading for the now with AD, or trading for the future as far as assets are concerned? I know you'd still have to go ahead and trade contracts and salaries. I get that, but I would be more concerned about getting some assets back that's going to help build your future.
You're going to need to find a trade partner that needs an AD to win a championship. And for them to do that trade, they're going to need to give up a lot of future assets, maybe 3 or 4 first-round picks, and hopefully at least one impact player that's young that you can kind of, have on your team for the next 5 years. Build some continuity.
There's Paul. Fire Ham now. Couldn't go
Ham's not the issue, guys. It's the people that hired Ham. They essentially just paid Frank free money this year to pay Frank Part 2 more money. I don't know.
Well, let me add, but again, I mean, now you got to seriously think about possibly trading AD to recoup some of those assets that you sorely need.
Yeah, and then the problem there is, if you send this guy to a championship caliber team and they win, how those first round picks are likely going to be sitting in the high 20s and that's it, or the 30th pick, right? If they win the championship.
Well, but again, but if let's say you trade for AD, you're getting, and maybe it worked the other way as far as down the road. You're talking about assets maybe that you could pick up in 24, 25, 26, where you're still, you've still got that gaping hole of limited assets between that period of time before you get to the 27 and 29 picks.
It's too much unknown. It's too much of the unknown. I think if anything, if you're I don't have an answer for that. That's why I feel like I'm confused at this point, because you still have the same people driving this car. It doesn't matter whether they give up the assets or they accumulate assets. I feel like these guys are just going to screw it up at some point anyways. They don't value people. They don't value foundation. They don't value anything. And I don't know why it turned into this. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense to me why they treated Alex Caruso the way they did. Why would they not even talk to that guy? Like, why would they do things like that? Why would they throw Frank Vogel under the bus when he is one of 4 coaches that has won a championship for the Lakers? One of 4. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know if these guys all got PTSD from something, but they've made very bad decisions, people decisions, that we've discussed ad nauseum, that I'm still thinking about. No matter how happy I'll get after a win, I still look at people like Jeannie and this car salesman, and I'm confused on maybe there's something wrong with me. Why did Kobe support this guy? Why did he vouch for this guy? And I told you on the last show, What happens when a matriarch passes away? When Kobe passed away, was this guy a facade when Kobe was around? And then when Kobe went, the true guy came out? That's what I feel like it is. And the pressure changes everybody, right? Pressure always changes everybody. So the pressure now is you kicked your brother out because he stunk at his job, and you won a championship. So now you're like, see, I told you guys I knew what I was doing. But then you basically started doing what he was doing, just making dumb decisions that didn't make any sense because you're too much of you're too emotional in this thing. Your brother was the same way. He wanted to draft Andrew Bynum so he can say I drafted him. You know, how about just pay attention to winning? You're a Laker owner. Winning in LA, Lakers winning championships. You can drink and eat anywhere you want on this planet. What else did you need? Did you need somebody massaging your rear end for drafting people? Really? How about just winning? Isn't that enough?
Well, I want to say this. I know that again, we're really hard on what's going on now. I know you and I disagree on this, but I still think we're seeing the fallout from the AD trade. I will do the AD trade 100 times out of 100 times simply because of the fact that we did win a championship out of it. But if you told me we're going to have this kind of fallout after the fact, I would still do it. But understand that when you have this kind of limited assets and fallout from it, you've got to prepare for that and make the right moves accordingly. And we just don't have a GM, vice president, or building block behind the scenes in the office in place that's going to make those correct moves with the limited assets that we have.
The AD trade was made because we were getting a generational player who already produced a championship. That's not the problem. You have to give up something to get that player, and it already brought us a banner. The issue is everything else after that, where they really, really butchered everything. And they continue to make bad decisions because they're not capable. It's easy when LeBron says, I'm coming to play for you. And hey, by the way, my people are going to help you get AD. Sure. Hey, I don't have to go do all this work because AD is being talked to by his agent, and his agent's talking to LeBron, and LeBron is the most important player of the NBA. What did Rob really do there other than put his arm around LeBron and go, right?
Well, the thing with there you go. Well, the thing with Alex Caruso is he was willing to give us a hometown discount to stay with the Lakers. And
how about just call the guy?
Yeah.
How about have some respect? Have some respect. These guys they tweet at 2 a.m. They go hide somewhere. Again, I don't know. This guy, where am I? I don't know where I am. Where is he?
I think it's a little bit of both, John. I think it's a fallout of the AD trade, and it's also consequences from the Westbrook trade.
I don't understand what
I think it's a fallout
means.
of both. I think it's the fact
this has nothing to do with AD.
It does have it.
You have to get AD.
I disagree with you.
You have to get an AD if he's in his prime wanting to come to LA.
And I understand that. I said that, and I make the trade 100 times out of 100 times.
But you can't say that now. It doesn't make sense. It's like saying, well, go ahead. Sorry.
It's the short term. You looked at the short term when you made that trade. You made the trade in the short term to get, and you gave up all those assets.
You didn't.
Yes, you gave up assets that could help you long term.
Okay, you got a generation.
I would do it every time. I do it every time because we won a championship.
It's not a fallout because this guy was a It's easy to say something happened after it's happened when you didn't see it before, right? It was hindsight's 2020, right? I can't blame that was the right call.
Well, you could say the same thing about the Westbrook trade, and you and Laker Tom were so in love with that trade and the move that Russell Westbrook. I was the one that said the Westbrook trade from the very day was awful.
But that was only a 2-year commitment. AD was going to be a 7-year to 8-year commitment. You were getting him in his prime at 26. He was 26 when he signed, right? And then you had. A big guy typically hits his prime when he's about 28, 29, and then he has that 28 to 32 year window, right? I was like, wow, we are set. Even if LeBron only plays 3 or 4 years, you can start building the team around AD. That's what that trade was supposed to be. And there was no reason not to think that at that time. There was no reason to think anything different 2 years ago. So what it turned into was it's not really AD so much the deal for AD. It's something disintegrated with this team from a mental aspect that I cannot figure out what it is. But these guys have fallen into a black hole that just they can't get themselves out of and doesn't look like they're capable of getting out of. They're not making good decisions in any way. They're not making sound decisions. They're indecisive. More wrong is done by indecision than wrong decision. And their indecision is killing this team. Pick something. Are you going to take a chance? Or are you going to just say, look, we are going to ride the season out and evaluate it in the summer. Stop hiding in your bunkers. Be a leader. Tell your people what's going on and what you plan on doing. You're a public person. Do it.
Again, I know that there's some divisiveness amongst the great chat room that we have about people saying maybe guys should slow down on the whole fire everybody routine. I know Jordan was saying that, but then others are saying Paul, fire him now. Richard, it's time to blow it up. I think if you get to the point where Joe's prediction is right and they're 5-15 come or going into December, I think that's a problem. That's a place where it's really starting to get really ugly really fast. I really think
we
that,
talked about the first 20 games and how brutal
yeah,
it was.
yeah.
And
Well, the next 10 games are very winnable. Most of those games outside the at Phoenix games are very winnable. Very winnable.
Well, there was winnable yesterday, and it was supposed to be winnable last Friday. And we were playing well on offense this first half, right? Everybody wants to look at it that way, but winnable is a very interesting word. We're a lousy team. We're supposed to be the W's for a lot of these teams we're going to be facing. All of them. I don't know who we're going to be. So looking at the schedule, we're going to be an underdog on Wednesday. We're going to be an underdog on Friday.
No, at home against Sacramento, that team almost has bad as record as we do.
Are we at home on Sacramento? No, I think that's in
Yes,
Sacramento.
that's here.
Oh, it is. Huh, interesting.
Yeah, so we're going to be favored in that one.
Fox is going to run. Fox is going to destroy.
The Lakers betting line here in Vegas. Come on.
Why my schedule looked like it was saying Sacramento. It was in
No,
Sacramento.
I initially said that, but then I corrected myself. It is.
You guys excited about what's coming in the future, right? Though, right?
Brooklyn and Detroit, Sacramento, Brooklyn, and Detroit. We should all be favored against, unless Kyrie comes back for Brooklyn, and then.
No, I don't. I'm telling you, Sacramento.
I think that's too soon.
Sacramento has waxed us 47-30 in the preseason. What's really going to change from that? You tell me. They're going to win by 15. They'll play a little bit better, right? I have no confidence in this team. Absolutely nothing. I'm looking forward to beating the Clippers because the Clippers are a crap show in themselves right now.
John, they should have won that game tonight. I actually had that on throughout on my TV behind me. John, they should have won that game. They were leading the entire game except for that last 1 to 2 minutes. They had as much as a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter, and they absolutely blew it. And they've only got themselves to blame because Steph Curry showed up at the last minute and saved the day for a very shaky Golden State team, which I do want to cover in our NBA observation show tomorrow, which I'm going to hopefully get around I'm going to probably say we'll start it up around the 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific hour. So we'll go ahead and talk some great things that's going on in the NBA. And yes, we'll try to see if we can relate some of that to the Lakers, of course, for the Lakers Fast Break. But this is our weekly NBA observations. So hopefully there's a good chat indeed coming up your way tomorrow. But Joe, again, I understand. I'm not trying to go ahead and expound too much on Laker Tom's enthusiasm and optimism, but I think it's a possibility, a real possibility from what I'm seeing as far as the NBA life on the road and NBA schedule, that the Lakers can pull out 5 of their next 10 games. I'm not asking for a 10-0 record like some of our chat, 9-1 or anything like that. I think it's very feasible that they go 5-5 over the next 10 games.
Feasible. What have they done that indicates that?
Well, again, if you have LeBron and AD on the court at the same time, again, against the teams that they're facing off at home in that homestand, that 4-game homestand, those are all underperforming teams. And I think that they have a chance at home. They at least play well enough like they did their first 2 games last week of the homestand. If they play like that, they have a definite chance to go ahead and go 3-1 or 4-0 in those home games. I didn't say for the rest of the 10 games they would be competitive. I think they'll manage to go ahead and steal one in San Antonio when they go play back to back. But I'm not actually thinking outside the box when I'm saying that they can go 5 of the next 10 games.
Well, it's like I say, I hope I'm wrong, but it's not going to happen.
Well, again, John's saying on Trevor Lane on Net Lakers Nation said it's only 10 games, guys. We still have 72 games to go. It's just, how does the team look to you? The eye test tells you that they're not performing at a level that they need to be. Forget about today's game. You didn't have LeBron. You didn't have Lonnie Walker.
Reminds me of reminds me of when you tell people, well, they're only, they're 10 years old, or they're 12, or they're teenagers, or there's always an excuse. We have a society full of excuse-ridden human beings. And the same people who sit there and try to look at this glass half full bull crap are the same ones that are yapping about how no one does anything well anymore. You go to the supermarket, no one gives a crap. You go to the bank, you go to this designer store, no one knows where the hell anything is. You order something, it shows up 4 days late. You guys are talking out of both holes. Pick one. Okay, just pick one already. I like to talk out of this. I'm talking out of this, okay, because of what this sees.
I'm talking out of this of what I see as well. 5-5 is not exactly a miraculous.
What have they done to indicate that they're a 500 team?
I didn't say they were a 500 team overall.
The teams they're playing are good, and they're usually really good against the Lakers. Sacramento has been kicking our butt. I don't remember the last time we beat the Clippers. Brooklyn is going to have Kyrie back, and it's going to be one of those games that they probably play out of their minds. You watch. And then what? Detroit? We're supposed to win that on a Friday night, right? We suck on Friday nights, so that's going to be a loss. San Antonio, we play San Antonio 3 times the third week of November. We're going to win 1 out of those 3 games. Okay. And then Phoenix is going to wax us. And then we'll probably...
I agree with you on the Phoenix.
We're probably going to win that last game in Portland, because usually they always win at least one of those games at home, no matter who they are or how bad they are. They always beat Portland at home at least once.
I will say that, please, come on. Respect each other's opinions. Please don't disparage anybody for their opinions in the chat room, please. We want to keep it civil. We want to keep it respectful. Please, if we can go ahead and do that, that would be greatly appreciated. You know who I'm talking to. I just want to go ahead, please. If at all possible, we could be respectful to each other in the chat room. That'd be greatly appreciated. I don't want to have to put anybody on a timeout or block anybody outside of 69 Mega or the sex sites and the sex box that actually try to invade our show each and every time out. But Zangerstein says, I hate the Lakers indecision. They built the team with Russ being traded. Reason why they signed 6 guards. They don't have any wing-sized players. The depth at the 5 is really bad as well. It's really a mismatched roster. Though I appreciate Zangerstein every no worries. I just want to make sure that you stay in the chat and be respectful to others. So want to go ahead and make sure that that's done. But Zangerstein, appreciate as always as well. Want to make sure everybody's good to each other, respectful to each other. I know we can all have disagreements, but we can do it in a respectful manner. Joe and I disagree right now on the next 10 games. He's thinking 3-7. I'm thinking 5-5. I'm not thinking like it's not like I'm asking them to go ahead and win everything out. I just think, like I said, the luck of the NBA schedule and the way the NBA schedule and the way the NBA life from these 2 eyes say that the Lakers will play good enough to possibly win 5 games. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it was worse. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't. Believe me, I'm not. Nothing surprises me at this point with this team.
Nothing surprises us. I think it's more of what is actually happening. I think it would be a surprise if they ended up going 7-3 the next 10 games, or even 5-5. Uh, there has been no surprises since July 1. We
So
have.
how much can you bench? Wet Bobcat is asking.
What's the most I've ever benched? 350.
What do you do now?
Now 185. I had reconstructive shoulder surgery, so I'm hesitant on doing too much weight on that.
John McCallion says 10 pounds.
John McCallion has a 10-pound. Well, I wouldn't say even a 10-pound brain, but you keep on trucking there, John. Don't,
No
don't run into
problem.
don't run into a flagpole, man, while you're driving.
I know the Suns, Kellen, you're right. The Suns didn't look great tonight on the road at Philadelphia. I wouldn't count that as an automatic loss. We shouldn't, but they play just going to Phoenix. Coming on the road, that'll be they'll have a day off in between, so you never know. They could go ahead and play with some motivation, but it's just so hard to read this team as far as when they can actually stay competent and stay competitive for 4 quarters. I'm not talking 2 quarters. 2 quarters they've got down pat. It's like last year, Joe. The thing is, this team was so frustrating last year because the team would be competitive for a quarter and a half, 2 quarters, 2.5 quarters, and yet there'd be those lapses which would ultimately cost them the game. We're seeing some of those things take effect today, even though it's actually now into like halves. It's like one half they're great or actually competitive or really good, and the next half they're absolutely abysmal and they can't keep up.
So what's the problem? We blamed Frank Vogel for that last year. What's the problem now? What's
Well,
the common denominator?
common denominator is the fact that they just, when they come out of the locker room uninspired and they come out of the locker room down
What are they
even
doing?
more.
What are they shooting up Hennessy in the locker room? What?
The adjustments in the locker room or lack thereof, I don't know what's going on. I'm not in that locker room, so I can't tell you for sure. I just know that the Lakers' lack of depth is obviously a big issue as you get into the third and fourth quarters. They just don't have the kind of talent that's going to go ahead and be able to stick with a lot of teams on the floor from night to night. So that could be a big issue as well. But this is the problem. You're supposed to have AD, LeBron, and Russ, or in this case, Russ and AD, to be able to go ahead and provide some of that slack that you don't have as far as depth are concerned.
So we're back that the surrounding talent isn't good enough.
It's not even close. I told you, how many times have I told you that the number 3 to 15 slots are probably could be the worst in the NBA, or at least considered as
So
one of the worst.
what's the current solution to that?
For me, it would be, if it doesn't get any better by game 20, would be trade AD by the end of the year.
Okay.
That would be me. That's
So
just
you have to trade AD for assets to build a team in the future, and the only way you're going to be able to do that without,
because if you could pick up some number 1 picks for AD, you're more than likely to go ahead, and then it's a lot easier to go ahead and do the Indiana trade.
trading AD.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, trading AD just to get the 2 guys that were going to help AD. I don't know if that's going to make sense at that point. The Lakers are in big trouble. They're going to need luck.
Well, the thing is also what Laker Tom has said, and you've mentioned Laker Tom being right on more than one occasion, is the fact you need tradable contracts. That you need those 10, 20, $25 million contracts, $15 million contracts, a lot like Patrick Beverley. You need those contracts with those salaries to be able to move. They're so much easier to move than, let's say, Russell Westbrook's contract at $47 million.
Yes, you need to move those contracts, but in order to move them, typically the other team wants assets, draft assets. The Lakers have made it very clear they are not trading those assets. So the only way you're going to accumulate any reasonable talent is with a Patrick Beverley or a Kendrick Nunn, is if someone wants to drop a large contract of a talented player. Who are those guys? There's very limited amount of guys that are talented, that have contracts that have extended 2 or 3 years from this year. The Lakers also don't want those contracts. So which is it, guys? Which is it, Jeannie? What are you going to do? Make a decision. You don't want to mortgage the future. You don't want to make the team better now. You don't want to even work in the middle there. So what are you going to do? Just sit there and waste another year, which is what they're doing.
Well, the thing is, I know that that's the complaint. The louder and louder and louder to make a trade like the Indiana trade, because we saw, or actually, if you did get a chance to see, Miles Turner scored 37 points tonight, and Hield has been shooting very well. Actually, scored another 20 points tonight, something that Laker Tom has been asking for ad nauseum. Does it? And we've talked about that's the question. If you make the trade, how far up does it move the needle? How far up does it move the
Well,
Lakers in the
morale,
standings?
morale will be boosted a lot, right? You're bringing in, let's say, a Miles Turner who is the perfect fit next to an AD. So now AD is going to be, night and day in terms of his enthusiasm and the morale. LeBron is going to have someone he could actually pass to and who's going to make the shot. So it will change the morale. Winning the championship, probably not, but we'll salvage at least something a little bit, maybe get into the playoffs at some point if we were to make that trade like right now. If you wait till they're 5-15, I don't know if it's that's good. That's going to be enough time. It
And
could
that's
be.
what I'm talking about. You better
But
do it now.
you got a very heavy home. You got a very heavy home playing schedule right now. Soon you're going to be on the road a lot. If you think the Lakers are playing bad now, wait till they get on the road where there's no cohesiveness, there's no chemistry, no leadership. Those guys are going to stink it up. Those guys are going to stink it up even worse. It's just exhausting watching this team play. It's the same game over and over again. And Jordan, sometimes in life, there are no solutions. There are no fixes. You know what you do? Let's say you got a car that just won't get fixed. What do? You take it to the dump and you start over. That's where my instincts are going on this. It's time to end the LeBron AD era. It's time to do that. And I'm thinking it's likely going to be at the end of the year. I don't care about this year at this point. And I told you guys this during the summer. I said, this is a wash. I go, start thinking about next year. Start thinking about next year because this thing's not going to work. You're the only thing you have shown anything this year is you got Patrick Beverley. That's how bad it got. And you guys got a taste of that. I told you guys. I kept hearing all this BS about, well, he's vocal and he's this and he's that and he's going to hold people accountable. I go, Patrick Beverley is a peon. He's not going to hold anybody accountable. And anyone who's bragging about making the playoffs the last 7 years is a clown. You don't brag about making the playoffs, especially when you're not a freaking star. You're a 7th, 6th guy on a team. So it's a charade. It's a joke. Just, stop trying to insult my intelligence. Get this thing done. We're going to have to wait 4 more months for this disaster to end. And then we're going to see if the numbskulls up in the Laker offices know what the hell to do next, which doesn't look good.
Well, Tycoon Rave, he actually made a good point. He said that the Lakers still own their 2023 second round pick. And normally people don't make an issue about second round picks as far as being attractive, unless you're a team that happens to be starting out 2-8 and could have a very high second round pick. Could that be attractive as far as to wave at somebody to help the team now, at least a little bit?
No. Lakers, even if they use the second round pick, they'll trade or let that guy go, even if it has any talent. Look at the talent they've let go. I'm not talking about traded for AD. Let go for nothing, really. The Lakers are infatuated with the stars. They're Al Davis. They've turned into Al Davis. They want the fast, they want the name, they want all that. Well, now you're getting a taste on how things have changed. Stop doing that. And it's going to get worse in 2 years when you guys demand a hard cap. It's over if that happens. The Lakers will never be the Lakers of old. That book is gone. You will never be able to use that book again. You will have to develop, you will have to draft well, and you'll have to get lucky in order for you to be anything. You can't just go poach players anymore after that.
Well, with 69 Mega, 69 Mega maybe actually kind of disagrees with you there. So had to block them out of it because they're not subscribing. So if you don't subscribe, 69 Mega, you're out the window you go. But once again, it's the Lakers fast break. The Lakers did unfortunately lose 139 to 116. We'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, around 6 p.m. Pacific, to go ahead with our weekly NBA observations on the NBA as asked for by you, our audience. So we truly appreciate you going ahead and giving us these great suggestions, and we truly appreciate it. But before we head on out, my friend, the Clippers, they're going to be on the road, technically, at the Crypt on Wednesday against a underperforming Clippers team without the services of Kawhi, and looks like right now they're just not meshing well as a unit as I thought they would. Your thoughts on playing the Clippers on Wednesday before we head on out?
One of the 3 wins.
Okay.
It's their due. They're due to beat this team, and Clippers are hiding the fact that Kawhi Leonard might be a lemon now.
Okay. I mean, LeBron will have some rest. He'll be rested.
Yeah. I think they'll go in, and then they'll win that game, and then everybody will be, is this the start of something good? And then they'll lose on Friday against Sacramento by 15.
You really think that? I mean, after the 77 points they lost to them in the exhibition season.
I think Sacramento's going to run them out the building. Similar to how Utah did.
De'Aaron Fox has been playing really well. So,
and he plays really well against the Lakers.
Yeah.
See, the Utah games really put it in perspective for me. You get your butts whooped by Utah at home. And then you got to be there in a few days to play them in Utah, which typically you would lose in any normal setting, right? But at some point, your pride has to kick in, your professionalism, your urge to, you know what, we're going to win this game. You don't see that with this team. You just don't. When do you ever see? When do you see it? They never see it with anybody.
Jordan Brown says, and by the way, thank you, Jordan. And for everybody new and everybody that's been here already, thank you for joining us in the greatest Lakers chat room that's out there. So hot, even Mega, 69 Mega wants to go ahead and join.
All right, Jordan,
let me just read it. Let me read it out there for audio audience. Jordan Brown says, Joe, if the Lakers win 4 more games in this next 10, you should eat the hot chip challenge with the Pepper X. The Pepper X.
I'll do that.
I'll buy it for you.
Buy it for me. I'll eat it on air, and I'll make sure I have a couple gallons of milk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, deal.
Okay. You heard it here first. All right, there you go. If the Lakers win 4 or more games in the next 10, Joe will try the hot chip challenge. So there you go. Absolutely.
That's a good one, Jay. That's a good one.
Yes, great thoughts, Jordan. Thank you for being part of our chat. Appreciate it. Sean, Clippers almost beat the Jazz. Clippers was switching on every pick. I don't know. I mean, I think that we think it's our time. Joe thinks it's the time for the Lakers. I'm still thinking the Lakers can do 5 games in the next 10. I really think that they can, especially with 4 winnable games on a homestand coming up after the Clippers game. And which Joe thinks they'll win, by the way. I think that they can go ahead and have a chance to have Joe eats that 1 chip challenge.
It'll be a fun. I'm hoping it happens. Mm-hmm. But as I've said before, there's no hope in this business, and there's definitely no hope for this Laker team. And we've been saying this since the summer. We are very, very good at understanding our team. I've watched a lot of Laker basketball in my life. I'm in tune with these guys as much as anybody. And you want reality, you come to the Lakers fast break. You want fantasy, you go to other places to feel good. If you want to feel good, cool. Go feel good somewhere else. Here, you're going to get real. That wasn't an accident. Here, you're going to get real. Take that to the bank.
George, well, the individual that is there, you got to sell your house if the Lakers go 10-0.
Well, I could say yes to that bet, but it's not likely I'd do it even if it happened.
Yeah.
So,
Somebody's
I
got to put
love my
up.
house.
Somebody's got to match their house as collateral. Somebody's got to put up their house against Joe as
I'll tell
collateral.
you what, if they went 30-0 the next 30 games, I'd be willing to make that bet.
You heard it here first. You heard it here
That
first.
ain't gonna happen. Come on.
No, that's not going to happen. Oh, I don't think that's going to happen. Not even close. But Joe, to close this on out again, with the Lakers losing. I mean, this is a team that I mean, I'm trying to be optimistic here. And at the beginning of the season, out of everyone on the staff, I was the lowest on the Lakers. So I'm telling you that this is even worse than what I had predicted. Does this dishearten you even more? The fact that, again, you picked them to be ninth, I think, or ninth or eighth in the Western Conference?
I was saying eighth based off of the other teams being who they were, like Utah not doing well, but that quickly changed. I didn't know Utah would come out the way they've come out. So everything has gone bad in terms of my thoughts on other teams. The Lakers, no. I fully expected them to be trash, and they might be
You
just
picked them higher than I did.
I picked them higher than I picked them higher because I didn't know the bottom dwellers originally would play this well. I didn't think Utah would play this well. I just didn't.
Well, it's and giving all credit to Trevor Lane for once. It is the first 10 games, so things could drastically change in the next 10.
I don't know what that means. Teams. I don't know what I keep telling you guys this. We went 1-5 in the preseason.
I'm not saying for our teams. I'm saying for those teams.
This is not, guys. This is not a small sample. We've been watching this. They are terribly run. They're mentally terrible. They're making shots and they're getting some of the numbers here and there, but they're a terrible, terrible team. They don't know how to do it right. What difference does it make? 10 games in, 20 games in? They've had enough time. They've had enough time to right this ship. They are not going to right the ship. They're too mentally weak. Get it through your heads. This is not going to end well because you have morons working the game. Get it through your heads. Wake up. Come on. It's not about positive and negative. It's about reality.
And that's something we give to you a lot of here at the Lakers Fast Break. Jordan Brown says, I don't think you're being optimistic. The Lakers have had 3 different teams over the last 3 years, just so everyone is aware. Yeah, it's just been all over the place due to poor decision making, and the roster is definitely not where it needs to be. Changes are probably on the way, but how soon? We'll wait and see. But once again, it's Joe Soro, Ox1947. You can go ahead and check him out today at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and hear his running commentary there. Plus, also as well,
do they really want to?
Some people actually do. But I will say, again, any way to get Jay Crowder, he plays D and can hit a 3. He's been on hiatus since Phoenix and him parted ways. He's still under contract with Phoenix, but Phoenix has not found a home for him. He can play. I don't think that's a magic cure-all, Kellen, but I think that's at least a step in the right direction should they decide to go ahead and trade for him. But I'm not even sure that if we have anything that Phoenix would want back at this point in time, because I think they want at least a first rounder for Jay Crowder, which I think is the reason why that they haven't traded him yet. But I know he wants out of Phoenix, Jordan, but I think, again, Phoenix wants something good in return in order to go ahead and trade for him because he's still under contract. So I have a feeling that they're holding out for a first-round pick, maybe for an injury to a good team out there that's going to get desperate. So we'll see. I mean, it would be a solid pickup. I agree with you, but I'm not sure, he's going to be a magic cure-all if he comes to the Lakers, but it would be a step in the right direction to get a little bit more depth with Jay Crowder on the roster. But we'll see. We'll see if they get interested in maybe a deal with Patrick Beverley and maybe throwing in maybe one of those second rounders that the Lakers have. I wouldn't throw the 2023 second rounder. I think that's a little bit too close for comfort there because it's going to be a very high second rounder at this point in time. So we'll see. But once again, it's Lakers Fast Break. I know he's sitting home right now. I know, but he's also still under contract to Phoenix. So Phoenix still has his rights. So they have to go ahead and decide what they want to give or get it back in return from a team offering, what they want, because I know that they were asking. Rumors had them asking for a first round pick. So if they won't get off that stance, just like the Lakers won't get off the stance of giving up both first round picks, then here we are. The stalemate will continue, and Jay Crowder will stay home. I have a feeling somebody's going to cave in and offer Phoenix something that they really want to go ahead and deal with, because he's not going back to Phoenix unless he really has to. So I think we'll see what happens there. But once again, it's Ox 1947 right there for you. Go ahead and check Joe Soro out at LakersBall.com. Plus, also, if you want your lawn transformed today and you're in the Southern California area, please go ahead and check out Sinblades, Sinblades with a Y.com. Well, they're not getting a first rounder for Jay. I don't think he's worth that. I think he's probably a high second rounder at the most, but you can always dream big. Phoenix is in the catbird seat right now. They're in second place in the NBA in the Western Conference right now, and they don't necessarily need to trade Jay right now. That's the thing. Well, if they will take second round picks, they're certainly not getting the offers as of yet, Jordan. So we'll see. They probably eventually will cave in and take the second round picks, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. It's going to probably be as soon as these injuries start to pile up in maybe late November, December, a lot of these teams will be looking at Jay Crowder in a lot more attractive way. I'm surprised that they haven't asked Jay Crowder to come back after the injury to Cam Johnson. That surprised me that they didn't do that. So that'll be some of possibly our NBA observations for tomorrow on NBA Observations on Tuesday. So go ahead, check it out, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Hopefully you'll join us then. But for Joe Soro, Lakers Ball, and Simblaze.com, it's me, Gerald Glassford. Appreciate it. John McCallion, go ahead and check out his channel. Subscribe to him today. And while you're subscribing to YouTube channels, if you have not already, please go ahead and help us out by subscribing to the YouTube channel so you can go ahead and get the latest notifications on when the Lakers Fast Break comes live on the air for you, talking Lakers basketball like no one else out there. We tell it like it is. We truly appreciate you joining us. And don't forget as well, 7 p.m. Pacific. I know, not yet, Joe. 7 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday on ESPN for the Lakers and Clippers. So for Joe Soro, it's Gerald Glassford. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Again, you guys are awesome. All the new faces and all the great places, all the great people that are there. Jesse Peterson, trade Westbrook, trade LeBron, trade AD. Here we go again. Jesse, thank you so much for being a part of our
Oprah.
chat. Yeah, I know.
You're getting traded. You're getting traded. You're getting traded.
You're getting traded. Yep, absolutely. Everybody's getting traded on the Lakers in fantasy and everyone. But in reality, we'll see if that happens. But Jesse, Kellen, Jordan, all these new faces, all these great people that are out there, all our regulars, all our Wet Bobcat, thank you so much for coming over from the Lakers Nation. Tycoon Rave, Paul, great to have you here. Zangerstein, great to have you here as well. Everybody, thank you so much for being a part of what we do each and every time out on the best Lakers chat room that's out there for the best Lakers podcast that's out there right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be safe.